The story opens inside a noble household where a blind boy named Kunan sits surrounded by family members wearing expressions of quiet pity. Ever since he was born, he's been told that his eyes can't see, which often makes him question what seeing truly means. His father gently explains that sight is the ability to recognize shapes, colors, and the world's form. According to his father, Kunan's blindness comes from a mysterious mark known as the hero's scar, left behind by the legendary knight Hister Julia. This mark is extremely rare, and instead of feeling ashamed, Kunan is encouraged to take pride in it. Still, the servants whisper among themselves, unable to hide their sadness for the boy. Kunan overhears them and quietly wonders why people feel sorry for him simply because he can't see. Later that day, his magic instructor arrives, and a maid escorts Kunan toward the study room. Along the way, Kunan questions whether learning magic is even worthwhile for someone like him. The maid assures him that neglecting his talent would be a mistake. He was born with a water crest, a rare gift that symbolizes great potential and honor. Despite her encouragement, Kunan remains doubtful, believing that magic won't change the fact that he still needs others to guide him everywhere. When they reach the study, Kunan meets his instructor, Jenny, who expresses her excitement and pride in teaching him. As the lesson begins, it quickly becomes clear that Kunan is exceptionally gifted. On his very first attempt, he successfully casts a spell, forming a sphere of water. Since he cannot see it, Jenny describes the spell as a small water orb, roughly the size of an eyeball. Those words spark a powerful realization in Kunan's mind. If magic can create something shaped like an eye, then perhaps, with enough mastery, he could one day recreate real eyes for himself. For the first time, Kunan feels genuine hope, believing that magic might allow him to see colors and shapes just like everyone else. Later, during lunch, Kunan grows curious about his meal and asks what ingredients are inside his sandwich. The maid carefully explains each one, and for the first time, preparing food for him feels deeply fulfilling, as he's now truly engaged with it. Afterward, his tutor Flora arrives to read him a story and asks what tale he wants to hear. Kunan requests the legend of Hister Julia. Flora hesitates, knowing the knight's connection to Kunan's blindness, but the maid reassures her and Flora agrees, asking Kunan to speak up if the story becomes uncomfortable. Kunan confidently insists he wants to learn everything he can. As the story unfolds, Kunan learns about the ancient war between humanity's heroes and the Demon Lord. Hister Julia ultimately defeated the Demon Lord, but paid a terrible price, losing an arm and a leg in the final battle. Since then, some of the heroes' descendants have been born missing parts of their bodies, whether limbs, eyesight, or other features. These children are known as the hero's reincarnations or bearers of the hero's scar. Despite the dramatic legend, Kunan dismisses it internally. To him, those stories don't define who he is. His future isn't shaped by myths or inherited scars, but by his own strength and dedication. What truly matters is how far he can take his magic. With his resolve strengthened, Kunan commits himself to mastering magic and achieving his dream of creating eyes for himself. However, his intense training places enormous strain on his young body, and eventually he collapses from complete exhaustion. Aiko rushes to Kunan's side and helps him back inside so he can rest and regain his strength. Once he finally wakes up, Kunan reflects on what happened and realizes that collapsing from magical exhaustion is unacceptable if he truly wants to reach his dream. He understands that improving his magic alone isn't enough. His body and endurance must grow stronger as well. Aiko suggests a balanced training plan, sword practice to build strength and stamina, along with increased meals to support his development. However, she warns that everything must be done gradually, as pushing too hard too fast could cause serious harm. Taking her advice to heart, Kunan begins training under Master Yoro, a legendary swordsman who has long since retired. The sessions are harsh and draining, but day by day, Kunan steadily improves. When it's time for his magic lesson, Jenny arrives, and Master Yoro respectfully steps aside. Jenny is surprised and impressed to see Kunan already engaged in physical training. Kunan explains that stamina is essential if he plans to maintain long-term magic use. Jenny can sense a clear change in him. The once quiet and withdrawn boy now carries purpose and determination, no longer feeling empty or uncertain. As their lesson begins, Jenny asks him to repeat the water spell from their previous class. Before, Kunan could only summon a single water orb. This time, however, he effortlessly creates 6 or 7 at once. Jenny is left stunned. She hasn't taught him any new techniques, yet his growth is astonishing. Meanwhile, Princess Mira, Kunan's fiancée, prepares to visit him later that day. She feels uneasy about the meeting, remembering how distant and gloomy he used to be. Although she accepts the engagement as her royal responsibility, she struggles to imagine a future with someone so emotionally withdrawn. However, the moment she arrives at the mansion, she senses a change. Kunan speaks with confidence, shows genuine interest in conversation, and even demonstrates his water magic. Mira is captivated, and the two spend the entire day enjoying each other's company. On the carriage ride home, Mira finds herself blushing, surprised by how excited she feels about seeing him again. Kunan, meanwhile, realizes that he's been overlooking her kindness and presence all this time. Determined to become someone worthy of her, he seeks out Flora and asks her to teach him proper etiquette and how to act like a true gentleman. That night, Jenny reflects on Kunan's progress and can't ignore the truth. He managed to cast 7 water orbs simultaneously, a feat even she cannot accomplish. He has already surpassed basic water magic, leaving her with little left to teach using traditional methods. Still, as his instructor, she decides to adapt. The following day, Jenny introduces a new approach to training. She explains that water magic can be separated into key stages: generating the water, keeping it afloat, and maintaining its form. To demonstrate, she creates 2 orbs, one heated and one chilled, showing that true mastery lies in controlling the state of magic itself. According to Jenny, this level of precision is what distinguishes novice mages from genuine experts. Kunan decides to seriously test the new technique, so he uses magic to pour water into a cup and hands it to Aiko, asking her to taste it. After taking a sip, she hesitates before saying that the water oddly tastes like apples. Jenny tries to hide her reaction, but inside she's clearly irritated. Once again, Kunan has grasped a complex concept almost instantly, far faster than she ever expected. That night, Kunan refuses to sleep and spends every moment practicing the technique Jenny taught him. He concentrates intensely, visualizing apples in his mind. While he can clearly imagine their shape and scent, one problem remains: he still cannot picture their color. This troubles him deeply because without understanding color, creating magical eyes would be impossible. The following morning at breakfast, Kunan attempts the spell again, forming a floating sphere of water. As he slowly moves it over the apples on the table, he suddenly jumps to his feet in shock. Aiko rushes over, asking what's wrong, and Kunan excitedly declares that he can finally see colors through his magic. At first, Aiko doubts him, assuming he's imagining things. But Kunan confidently describes the bowl in front of them, stating that it contains 2 green apples and 3 red ones. When Aiko checks and realizes he's correct, she bursts into joy and hugs him tightly. Aiko immediately reports this breakthrough to Kunan's father, explaining that Kunan can now perceive colors by channeling magic through touch. She adds that the closer and clearer an object's shape is, the more accurately he can identify its color. Thanks to this ability, Kunan can even follow ink on paper, making it possible for him to read books. Although he hasn't learned the letters yet, Aiko is certain it's only a matter of time. Hearing this, Kunan's father is overwhelmed with pride, thrilled by how far his son has come. The next day, Kunan decides to surprise Jenny by creating an enormous red sphere of water before she arrives. However, just as he's concentrating, the rest of his family suddenly appears, startling him. Losing focus, the massive water ball explodes, splashing red liquid everywhere and completely soaking both Kunan and Aiko. Covered head to toe, Kunan ends up looking as if he's drenched in blood, causing his mother to scream in panic and faint instantly. Completely confused, Kunan asks what just happened, and Aiko explains that blood is red, so the sight scared her badly. Kunan's father immediately scolds him for causing such a fright and punishes him by canceling his allowance for the next 2 months. He then announces that Aiko's salary will be reduced for 3 months as well. Since Aiko is entirely driven by money, she faints the moment she hears this. From behind a nearby bush, Jenny watches the entire scene unfold. Seeing everything firsthand, she finally understands just how extraordinary Kunan truly is. With his unbelievable rate of growth, she becomes convinced that one day he may achieve the highest title a mage can earn, the legendary Cerulean Sorcerer. Several days later, Kunan's father speaks with his eldest son, revealing his plan to send Kunan to a proper school. Shocked, Ichio reminds him that Kunan has never experienced life beyond their home. Gurion agrees, but explains that he wants his older son to help ensure Kunan can adapt to the outside world. This conversation triggers a memory from Ichio's childhood. He recalls a time when he tried taking Kunan outside to play, only for his younger brother to become frightened. To comfort him, Ichio promised to hold his hand the whole way, but as he turned to guide him forward, he tripped on the stairs and fell. Shaking off the memory, Ichio hides his lingering worries and assures his father that he will do everything he can to support Kunan. The following day, Aiko watches with interest as Kunan plays with a bowl of water. He explains that he reinforced the container with magic, turning it into a playful fortune-telling tool. Intrigued, Aiko immediately asks him to use it to check on her long-lost relative. Kunan tells her that the woman is doing just fine and still in her prime. Aiko then jokingly asks if he can predict her future husband, and Kunan confidently replies that someone as beautiful as her will never lack admirers. As the two laugh and tease each other, Flora observes from the side, quietly wondering if teaching Kunan how to joke was really such a good idea. Later, during their lesson, she watches him joke around and worries that this playful side might eventually turn him into a frivolous flirt. Still, she can't help but feel happy seeing how much he has changed, especially now that he smiles so often. Once the lesson ends, Aiko escorts Kunan outside to meet his father. Feeling chilly, she asks him to create a few spheres of warm water. After doing so, Kunan admits he's uneasy about being summoned so late. Aiko reassures him that he hasn't done anything to deserve trouble, aside from that blood incident from earlier. Kunan points out that she was the one who pushed him into it, but he admits he didn't regret the experience at all. Not long after, they arrive at the main estate, where the head butler, Balon, greets them. Kunan's older brother soon joins them and leads Kunan and Aiko toward their father's room. Along the way, he asks if Kunan needs assistance walking. Kunan declines, explaining that his senses have improved enough for him to navigate on his own. Though his brother nods, he remains uneasy, remembering the last time he was responsible for him. Inside the chamber, both of Kunan's parents await them, while Aiko and Balon stay outside. Gurion asks Kunan directly if he would consider attending a real school. Kunan refuses, saying he doesn't want to burden others by constantly needing help. He explains that he's focused on something important at home and asks if it's truly a problem to skip school. Gurion responds by explaining that while noble children are normally required to attend school, he obtained special permission from the emperor to allow Kunan to remain at home due to his condition. Kunan bristles at this, accusing his father of favoritism, but Gurion urges him to stay focused. When Gurion asks him to reconsider, Kunan dodges the question and instead demands that his allowance be restored. This sparks an argument between them until Gurion's wife steps in and reminds him of the real reason behind this discussion. Calming himself, Gurion explains that Kunan's education is important for Mira's future. Any noble who neglects their duties is shunned, and if Mira were to marry someone seen as uneducated, she would face constant ridicule. Hearing this, Kunan finally changes his mind and agrees to attend school. Seeing his son's frustration, Gurion reassures him that he won't need to attend regularly. Instead, Kunan only has to take the annual advancement exams, requiring just 5 visits to earn his graduation certificate. Relieved by this compromise, Kunan feels far more at ease. Ixio also adds that both he and Mira are already students there and can help guide him when the time comes. Kunan's mother jumps to her feet in excitement, eager to prepare the proper school uniform for her son. Calling for Aiko, she heads outside to take Kunan's measurements, with Ixio following closely behind. Gurion stops him, cautioning that other nobles at school might target or harass Kunan and Mira. Ixio understands the concern and promises that he'll do everything in his power to protect his younger brother. The next day, Kunan informs Mira that he'll be attending school. She beams with joy, clearly happy at the thought of spending more time with her fiancé. Kunan admits he's a little anxious about the unfamiliar environment, but Mira reassures him that she'll look after him. He thanks her, though he jokingly worries they might attract trouble from jealous admirers. Mira hesitates before brushing it off, prompting Kunan to wonder if she's not very popular. She immediately denies it and proudly reveals that 5 boys have already confessed their feelings to her. Hearing this, Kunan lets out a sigh, realizing he'll have to deal with a fair share of envious classmates. Later, Kunan puts on his school uniform for the first time. As he steps outside to board the carriage, Aiko gushes over how handsome he looks. Kunan playfully responds to her compliments before climbing inside. Before the carriage departs, he uses water magic to coat the wheels with a cushioning layer, ensuring a smoother ride. After bidding farewell to his family, he sets off toward the city. While traveling, Ixio notices that the carriage glides effortlessly over the rough roads. Kunan explains that he designed the spell to prevent back pain from the constant jolting. Feeling proud of his creativity, he briefly wonders if he could one day make a living providing magical services. Ixio then asks whether he's nervous about starting school. Kunan calmly replies that he's far stronger than he used to be. He thanks Ixio for always supporting him and apologizes for being a burden because of his condition. He also tells his brother to stop blaming himself for the accident from the past. Though surprised, Ixio listens as Kunan declares that he's determined to keep moving forward, no matter what obstacles lie ahead. Ixio smiles, relieved to see how much his brother has changed from the gloomy child he once was. Kunan suddenly grows overly dramatic, claiming he'll live longer than the rest of the world just so he can fully enjoy life. Watching this, Ixio can't help but wonder if the maid is responsible for this drastic shift in personality. As they near the academy, Ixio is stunned to realize that Kunan can sense everyone around them. Soon, the carriage stops in front of the school, and Kunan steps outside. Mira quickly rushes over to welcome her fiancé, only for him to immediately start showering her with compliments about her beauty. Mira laughs and plays along, leaving Ixio completely confused by their exchange. She then turns to guide Kunan inside, but he suddenly stops. Puzzled, Mira looks back as Kunan listens closely to the countless voices echoing from within the building. Although the pressure of facing so many people weighs on him, he feels confident that he can handle it this time. Once he steels himself, Kunan reaches out his hand to Mira and jokingly asks her to escort him like a fragile maiden. Smiling, she accepts. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the academy, Kunan's assigned instructor, Cass, anxiously wonders why her new student hasn't arrived yet. Knowing he's the son of a marquis, she doubts whether someone as inexperienced as herself is qualified to teach him. Just then, she overhears a group of girls excitedly whispering about a strikingly handsome new student, leaving her frozen in disbelief as Kunan walks past with his fiancée. Cass quickly regains her composure and hurries after Kunan, introducing herself as his assigned instructor. Kunan greets her with exaggerated elegance, explaining that he's currently acting the role of a fragile young lady. This leaves Cass completely speechless, but the ringing school bell interrupts the awkward moment just in time. Mira and Ixio then part ways with Kunan and head to their own classes, leaving him alone with his teacher. Elsewhere, several students watch Kunan through a classroom window. One of them comments that Kunan bears the mark of a hero, which immediately irritates Prince Leal. Noticing his mood shift, his followers quickly switch from praise to mocking remarks to appease him. With a scowl, the prince orders his group to follow him and storms off. Back on Kunan's side, Cass prepares a private room for his advancement exam and asks if he understands how it works. Kunan nods, prompting her to explain that while these exams are usually spread far apart, he'll be taking his in rapid succession. Confused, Kunan learns that his father negotiated a special arrangement with the king. Kunan remarks that his father is actually close friends with the monarch, but the realization only makes him uncomfortable. Feeling guilty, he apologizes to Cass for the pressure placed on the school. She pretends not to hear him, but Kunan continues ranting about corruption among the nobility. Trying to redirect his attention, Cass silently hands him the exam papers. When he keeps criticizing his own father and noble society, she finally pleads with him to stop dragging her into political matters. After some time passes, Cass sits alone to grade the test. Expecting poor results due to Kunan's nonstop rambling, she's completely stunned to find that every single answer is correct. Later, Kunan heads to the cafeteria to eat lunch with Mira. Suddenly, Prince Lyle and his entourage block their path. Lyle calls out to his sister, causing her to nervously adjust her clothes. Kunan steps forward, curious about who's bothering her, while Ixio approaches from behind, shocked to see his brother being confronted by a member of the royal family. Lyle openly insults Kunan, mocking him for becoming engaged to his sister despite his disability. Mira looks hurt but remains silent, unable to challenge her older brother. Sensing her distress, Kunan prepares to retaliate, but before he can act, Ixio steps in to calm the situation. This only enrages Lyle further, and he orders Ixio to move aside. With tension rising, Kunan quietly gathers water from the surrounding air using his magic. In an instant, he redirects it straight onto Lyle's pants, making it appear as though the prince has embarrassed himself. Feigning innocence, Kunan points out the wet stain, leaving everyone in shock. Mortified, Lyle denies what it looks like before hastily retreating to clean himself up. Once he's gone, Ixio immediately realizes that Kunan was behind the prank and questions him. Kunan, however, pretends to know nothing. The three of them then sit down to eat together. While having lunch, Kunan asks Mira who Lyle really is, and she explains that he's her older brother. Saddened by how cruel he is to her, Kunan thanks Ixio for always being such a caring sibling. Meanwhile, Ixio is internally panicking, knowing that publicly humiliating a royal prince will likely bring serious consequences. Mira tells him not to worry, but Ixio can't shake the feeling that trouble is inevitable. Elsewhere, Lyle stomps away in a fury, burning with humiliation over what just happened. And that wraps up episode 2. Subscribe so you don't miss the next part, and check out the next video to continue the story. While eating lunch with his group, Kunan talks with everyone about the earlier incident. They can't understand why Lyle openly stepped in front of them without making any effort to hide his aggressive behavior. Mira is the first to share her opinion, suggesting that Lyle likely acted that way to put pressure on her. She explains that Lyle is the 6th prince, while she is only the 9th princess, which normally places her below him in terms of royal rank. However, Mira adds that things are different now. Since she is engaged to Kunan, her position has changed. Kunan carries the hero's scar and is an exceptionally talented mage, which has significantly elevated his social standing. Because of this, Mira's status has also risen, and now that Kunan has officially entered high society, the two of them are viewed as having a higher standing than Lyle. After hearing all this, Kunan admits that the situation sounds far too complicated for him to fully grasp. Laughing, Mira simplifies it by saying that all that really matters is how happy she is to be engaged to him. Kunan smiles and says he feels the same. Still, Kunan mentions that apologizing to Lyle might be the safest way to prevent future issues. The moment he suggests it, both Ixio and Mira immediately shut him down, telling him not to even consider doing something like that. Before long, the day of Kunan's final exam arrives. Before heading out, he manages to fit in one last short training session with Jenny. During practice, he forms a sphere of water and effortlessly transforms it into a solid apple-shaped ball of ice. Jenny is honestly impressed and remarks on how much Kunan has improved in such a short time. Later that day, Kunan arrives at the academy and prepares himself for the exam. As he looks around, a sense of excitement washes over him, as the academy now truly feels like a proper school. Professor Cass approaches him and wishes him good luck, though she confidently adds that he probably won't need it given his current skill level. Soon after, several students gather around Mira and ask her to introduce her fiancé. Taking the cue, Kunan formally introduces himself as Mira's fiancé and Ixio's younger brother. He presents himself politely and confidently, greeting everyone and saying it's a pleasure to meet them. His refined manners and calm speech quickly leave the other students with the impression that he's a true gentleman. Meanwhile, Lil stands off to the side by the window, silently plotting his next move. His thoughts are interrupted when classmates call out to him, telling him to head to the classroom since the final exam is about to begin. Lyle responds arrogantly, claiming he'll come whenever he feels like it. They quickly warn him that the exam will be held all at once and that he'll miss it if he doesn't show up now. Noticing the uneasy expressions on their faces, Lyle becomes even more irritated, realizing that none of them have the courage to confront him directly, and instead talk behind his back. Just as his anger grows, Kunan suddenly lights up with excitement, steps forward and grabs Lyle's hand, enthusiastically introducing himself since they didn't get a proper chance earlier. Kunan firmly shakes his hand, brimming with energy. Lyle immediately snaps back, reminding Kunan that he never gave him permission to speak to him, let alone touch him. Kunan quickly apologizes for his rudeness, but instead of backing away, he immediately begins piling on even more compliments. The endless stream of compliments eventually makes Lyle blush despite himself. Everyone nearby notices how flustered he looks, and it doesn't take long before the other students burst into laughter, amused by a side of Lyle they never thought they'd see. Shortly after, everyone takes their seats and the final exam begins. The grading doesn't take long, and soon Professor Cass steps forward to announce the results. Turning to the board, she draws a flower, the sign that the entire class has passed. The room erupts in cheers as students congratulate one another on successfully clearing the final exam. With everything finished, Kunan departs in his carriage, waving goodbye and wishing everyone well, saying he hopes they'll meet again someday. Upon returning to the mansion, he immediately resumes his training with Jenny. She instructs him to form a ball of water and divide it into 10 separate spheres. Kunan does so without difficulty, then mentions that he's been working on a little technique of his own. To demonstrate, he transforms one of the water spheres into a small bird, which flaps its wings and flies off. Jenny is left completely stunned. After a brief pause, she drops to her knees, realizing there's almost nothing left she can teach him. Not long after, the two sit down together to enjoy some tea. That's when Jenny finally speaks honestly, admitting that she truly has nothing more to offer him as a teacher. She explains that Kunan has already mastered basic magic, and once he begins learning advanced spells, he'll surpass her entirely. She confesses that this has been the case for quite some time, which is why she kept inventing strange and improvised training exercises out of desperation. Kunan immediately stands up and objects. He tells her that he already knew, but those very exercises were what allowed him to expand his magical abilities. He firmly states that without them, he never would have reached this level. Kunan then asks if she's quitting because the pay isn't enough, adding that he could simply ask his father to increase her salary. Jenny shakes her head and explains that it's the opposite. She says she can't stand continuing to receive such generous pay when she no longer serves a meaningful role as his instructor. Walking over to him, she places her hands on his shoulders and looks him straight in the eyes, telling him that she has truly reached her limit. Kunan refuses to accept it. He insists that he wants her to keep giving him those small exercises, even if they're nothing more than tricks meant to mislead him. He says he doesn't care about being deceived as long as it helps him grow stronger. But Jenny meets his gaze and firmly tells him she can't do it anymore. With that, she turns away and leaves. As she walks home, Jenny reflects on everything Kunan has accomplished and begins to believe that he may genuinely have the potential to become the cerulean sorcerer. That realization ignites a spark of determination within her. Back at the mansion, Aiko informs Kunan that Flora has also stepped down from her position. Since Kunan has completed his studies and officially graduated from the Noble Academy, Flora's duties are finished as well. Kunan feels a bit disappointed that he never got the chance to properly say goodbye, but Aiko explains that Flora avoided farewells because she knew she wouldn't be able to hold back her tears. After hearing that, Kunan decides he'll write Flora a letter to properly express his gratitude for everything she's done. Later that evening at dinner, he tells his father, Arson, about Jenny stepping down as his magic instructor. Kunan explains that Jenny believed he deserved a teacher far more exceptional than herself. As they discuss the situation, Isho suddenly remembers rumors about a legendary royal sorcerer known as Zeon. Kunan immediately declares that he wants Zeon to become his new mentor. However, Arson quickly shuts the idea down, stating that it's simply not possible. Royal sorcerers hold extremely high status within the kingdom and answer only to the king or members of the royal family. On top of that, they rarely leave the castle, making any form of contact nearly impossible. Hearing this, Kunan comes up with a bold plan. He suggests accompanying his father to the castle, deliberately getting lost during the visit, and then persuading a royal sorcerer to take him in as an apprentice when they come to help him. Arson immediately rejects the idea, calling it reckless and saying the chances of success are practically non-existent. He tells Kunan to drop it altogether. But when Kunan's mother gives Arson an innocent, pleading look, his resolve crumbles. He sighs and agrees to speak with the king to see if there's any possibility of making it happen. A few days later, a grandmaster receives Kunan's formal request to be trained by a royal sorcerer. At first, the grandmaster is unimpressed and merely discards the letter. However, upon noticing that the request comes from Kunan, the one who bears the hero's scar, he suddenly pauses, his interest clearly piqued. That brings us to the end of episode 3. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, and check out the following video to continue the story. When they returned home, the protagonist had no clue that his life was about to take a dramatic turn. His father was just as unaware, never expecting that those individuals would arrange a meeting so soon. Intrigued, the father asked what kind of magic his son had been practicing lately. In response, Kunan demonstrated Ori magic by forming a remarkably lifelike cat. The precision and control amazed his father. Still, Kunan pointed out that the creature's movements felt somewhat stiff and expressed his desire to eventually recreate even the sound of a real meow. Kunan accepted this explanation, though his father reminded him that Tina preferred dogs. Kunan agreed, recognizing how his father always considered the whole family. Still, he proposed raising cats outside instead. He recalled Akko mentioning that outdoor cats were a symbol of nobility and added that Princess Mira herself had called it a mark of prestige. Hearing this, his father immediately became interested in the idea. Not long after, they arrived at the royal court, where Leia was introduced. The father warmly thanked her for the gracious welcome. Kunan also greeted her politely, prompting his father to joke that he wished Kunan spoke that charmingly all the time, reminding him that Lecia was his sister-in-law. Lecia mentioned that she had heard many good things about him from Mira. Looking more closely, Lecia noticed Kunan holding a cat, only to realize it was made entirely of water. The father was clearly disappointed upon discovering it wasn't a real pet. Leia then decided to escort Kunan directly to the Black Tower Hall, while his father went to greet the king. As they entered, Lecia asked whether Kunan could walk comfortably, and he assured her he could. Sensing his nervousness, she encouraged him to speak freely. Kunan then began asking deep questions about the essence of a mage, focusing solely on advanced magical concepts. Lecia admitted she couldn't answer, explaining that she was still a novice, and smoothly shifted the conversation to the structure of the royal family. She explained that the current royal family of Hungary consisted of 7 princes and 10 princesses. While many nations follow a strict rule where the eldest prince inherits the throne, Hungary operates under a strong merit-based system where ability and achievement can change the line of succession. Kunan remarks that the entire system sounds extremely complicated, and Leia agrees. She admits that she once dreamed of becoming a powerful mage, which is why she willingly abandoned her claim to the throne. As they continue walking, Kunan suddenly senses an overwhelming concentration of magical energy, most of it radiating from one of the towers. Lecia explains that Mira has been under immense pressure because of the ongoing succession conflict. Without warning, Lecia is startled to see Kunan using magic in a rather alarming way. Ice forms beneath his feet, and he begins gliding across the floor as if skating. Smiling, Kunan asks if she wants to try it too. She agrees, but tells him to wait for a moment. Before joining in, she warns him not to act carelessly, advising him to stay neutral, avoid getting involved with any factions. The two speed through the castle corridors, moving so fast that the guards who try to stop them are left behind. Soon, Dario appears and demands to know what is happening. He chases them through multiple sections of the castle before finally managing to catch up. Once stopped, both quickly apologize. Next, Kunan is seen speaking with Rond Aktard, the official court mage. After introducing himself, Kunan instantly senses the man's overwhelming power. While he had already been impressed by Leia's magic, Rond's presence feels like it belongs on an entirely different level. Rond mentions hearing that Kunan possesses the water crest. Kunan confirms this and shows it on his arm. The mage asks whether the crest has 2 stars. Kunan admits he doesn't fully understand what that means. Rond then explains that there are 7 magical attributes: fire, water, earth, wind, light, darkness, and arcane, each divided into 5 ranks. When Kunan asks if 2 stars indicate the lowest tier, Rond confirms it. Leia adds that she also only has 2 stars in the wind attribute. He guesses that the mage might be at 3 stars, but Rond reveals that he actually has 4. When asked if that surprises him, Kunan replies that it doesn't, since this is his first time learning about crest rankings. They move outside where several students are gathered. Rond expresses interest in seeing Kunan's abilities, and Leia mentions that she has already tested him, describing his power as terrifying. The crowd recognizes Kunan as the boy with the hero's scar, and whispers spread about how he even gave the Knight Dario a tough time. Interest in his magic quickly grows. The director then asks a student to step forward and demonstrate his abilities. As AI magic is unleashed, Kunan watches in awe and wonders aloud whether it could be stolen. He remembers his teacher once telling him that spells already being controlled by someone else can sometimes be hijacked. Believing it unlikely but still attempting it, Kunan is surprised to find that the student resists strongly. Even so, everyone is stunned when Kunan successfully steals 2 spells. As the others joke and react in disbelief, the director calmly asks that the boy be left with him. Leia casually remarks that the student had just been dumped by his girlfriend, but he quickly brushes it off, saying it has nothing to do with the situation. The director, meanwhile, notices how much attention Kunan has drawn from everyone around. When Kunan asks if he passed the test, the man replies that he still wants to conduct a few additional trials. This time, he wants to experience Kunan's magic firsthand. Kunan then creates a spell resembling a magical trampoline that allows people to bounce high into the air. The director is impressed, and soon everyone wants to give it a try. Leia jokes that it must be amazing to sleep on something like that. Kunan confidently responds that he could make an even stronger version, one that could launch a person far higher. The director immediately stops him, warning that if he does, Kunan won't be allowed to go home that day. Still, he admits that it's been a long time since he's enjoyed himself this much. Curious, Leia asks whether he can create human figures using magic. Kunan answers that he can, though their movements are still imperfect. He explains that replicating human motion depends heavily on the type of magic used, but with more practice, it should be achievable. Intrigued, they ask him to demonstrate. Kunan agrees and causes the doll to float into the air. The sight shocks everyone nearby and quickly catches Doria's attention. Feeling discouraged, Kunan realizes he's already been scolded twice that day. However, the old mage reassures him, saying there's no need to worry and suggesting they continue discussing magic over a meal. Kunan then asks once more if he passed the evaluation. The director confirms that he did, saying he had a great deal of fun and would personally reflect more carefully on everything he witnessed. Overjoyed, Kunan is relieved to know he succeeded. The director asks about his goals for the coming years, and Kunan replies that he wants to be able to create an eyeball using magic. The answer leaves everyone stunned, reinforcing just how unusual he truly is. Afterward, Kunan goes to meet his father, who is clearly upset and demands to know what his son has been doing. Leia steps in, insisting that none of the trouble was Kunan's fault. Even so, his father explains that a mage must always take responsibility for their actions. Acting without thinking is dangerous, as misuse of magic can seriously injure or even kill someone. Kunan accepts the criticism, apologizes sincerely, and promises to be more careful. On their way home, the father is surprised to realize how late Kunan stayed in the tower and concludes that his son must be exceptionally powerful. He also notices that everyone seemed to like Kunan quite a bit. Leia then reminds Kunan that he still has dinner plans with his fiancée. Realizing it's already night, Kunan panics, remembering that he's sweaty and hasn't even bathed. Leah suggests a quick solution to help him reach her in time. Kunan forms a sphere of water and uses wind magic to propel it through the air. At first, he hesitates, worrying that if the girl already had a fiancé, the situation could be badly misunderstood. Lucia urges him to hurry, reminding him that she herself doesn't have a fiancé at all. They take off at incredible speed and land rather roughly. Lucia apologizes, admitting she should have slowed down. Kunan shrugs it off, suggesting they could use the experience for further experiments. Before they can continue, Dario appears and scolds Lucia, reminding her that as a member of the royal family, she shouldn't be involved in such reckless behavior. And with that, the fourth episode comes to an end. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next episode.